Markus, a story by Nanozom. Victoria walked in the hallway with a terrified mind, and was trying to get her thoughts together. She was carrying a little black garbage bag, holding something in the shape of a blunt melon. Victoria ignored the voices in the dark behind her, and kept looking down in the floor. She thought for herself, God, please don't let me get caught for this. Please don't let me get caught for this. She looked on the bag with an increasing fear. It was a little heavy, some fluids had collected in the bottom of it, and she was worrying that the bag might start leaking soon. She continued to walk and started to think for herself even more, while keeping a watching eye for anyone that might follow her in the dark. Don't let me get caught. Don't let me get caught. Please don't let me get caught. She stopped for a while and started to recall how and what had happened. So what are your plans for the weekend? Victoria was smiling on her way to the next class, carrying the books for it. Next to her were two of her friends. Shelley, a little too arrogant type that enjoys the obvious and a really popular girl, could get any man she wanted, but then ditched them for fun. But in her defense, she had the extraordinary good looks for it, a little bossy. And then we have Richard, a guy without any confidence at all, following Shelley everywhere, and these are the one that has to listen to anything that Shelley says. He carries her books, he carries her bags, and he listens to her complaints, holding her phone. Short said he was her favorite doormat. Victoria herself was pretty standard, someone who is probably not much different from Richard, except that she's no one's doormat. She did wonder why Richard allowed Shelley to treat him like she did, but assumed it was some sort of worship. How odd that now would be. Well, we could go to the karaoke place and do the regular routine. What was the name of it again? Richard answers on that one. The Bluebird. That was its name, Victoria. Oh, okay. But shall we really go there again? Shelley answers while they move on. We wait with the plans until Eric gets here. Eric, player in the football team and somewhat of a boyfriend to Shelley, but guard dog would suit better for that relationship. And to make things clear, he was the American football team in them, meaning he was a brute on occasion, but he kept most of it on the field casually, so was he like anyone else? Just a little blunt, but it was acceptable, and for now he was late as usual. Another practice for the big game on Sunday? Yeah, he says that he will make a touchdown this time. They decided to enter the classroom and wait for him there. Victoria looks down on the books she is carrying, history, and realizes that she has dropped something on the way there. She has dropped the keys to the locker. Shelley wonders why Victoria has the troubled look. What is it? I must have dropped it. Dropped what? The keys to the locker. I had them right here. You better hurry there. There is 5 minutes left. Shelley smiled in her slightly arrogant way, as fitting that arrogant domestic and manipulative personality of hers. Victoria turned around and started to backtrack in the hallway behind her. No sign of the keys, and she's looking everywhere on the floor, but don't seem to find them even after backtracking for 15 meters. Someone is speaking on her shoulders. Excuse me. She turns around and sees a completely new face at the university. It was a man, seemingly close to the same age as her. There is dark brown thick hair all over his head, curling around like no comb could master it. He had a kind face, with a sense of great trust in it. There is not one single flaw in his face, which in itself is actually slightly unnatural. The eye color is dark brown, kind and naive eyes. There was a small smile of a well-intentioned, dressed in a school uniform which in itself was boring in a non-aesthetic way. Victoria and the others had slightly changes on them, which was allowed, free customization. But this guy had the uniform as it originally was. Victoria looked at him with slight suspicion and he keeps talking. But I think you dropped this. In his hand was the key to Victoria's locker. She was pleasantly surprised and spoke. Oh, thanks. Who are you? The man in front of her is giving it to her and then holds on his right arm to shake her hand. She answers the greeting. My name is Victoria. So who are you? My name is Markus. There was a gentle force in that handshake, and she just looked at him in a mixed response of confusion and shallow politeness. Victoria thought about it, and then she remembered that she was going to be late to the class. She turns around and starts to run, leaving him, Markus, behind while he was waving at her. See you later, Miss Victoria, and nice to meet you. Miss? Victoria reached at that for 5 seconds in great confusion and staggering reactions. She thought while running, there's people still using that? What century is he from? Anyway, that doesn't matter, I must hurry up. She managed just to get inside the classroom at the nick of time, and hiding the fact that she was breathing heavily. Victoria is sitting right next to Shelley, who looks at her while asking, Did you find it? Yeah. Where was it? Some guy had found it and gave it to me. Shelley suddenly got a sudden look of interest and asked again, Oh, who was it? Do I know him? Well, I don't think so, but to be honest, I think he was a little weird. Meanwhile, the teacher was announcing something, and someone had entered while she was not paying attention, standing in front of everyone, and with a smile on the face. The teacher said something, but she didn't pay attention to what he said. Shelley took one look and then back at Victoria. So, what was the name of this guy? Name? Well, I think his name was. She got interrupted when a voice got heard in the center of the room. Nice to meet you all. Victoria looked at the direction of the voice and saw the student she had met earlier. He still had the smile in his face. My name is Markus. The day passed as usual, with the exception of all the gossip about the new transfer student. To Shelley's great displeasure, as she was unused to have the center of the world circling around her. Eric had showed up after half an hour and was standing by Shelley's side as usual. They looked at this new student who was talking with someone, having that naive smile of his. They discussed something for themselves, or more precisely, Shelley was discussing with them about what to do with him. Does he even have a clue about the order of command here? Maybe it is time for an introduction to the rule book. She turns to face Victoria, that knows exactly what was going to happen. She got a face expression of tired unhappiness. They were going to perform the test of rank on the new students, like they have done to all the others, meaning that Victoria had to bring the student to the Bluebird where the test was going to commit. Seriously? Shall we not wait until the new one gets a little more time? Why should we do that? Let's show him the order around here. Victoria, do your part in the plan. Victoria sighed deeply and started to walk over to the new student, Markus, who still had a smile in his face. "Excuse me." He turned around and looked at her with naive eyes. He had no clue of what was going to happen. "Nice to meet you again, Miss Victoria." There it was, that miss again. Victoria didn't know of what to do with it. Should she feel grateful? Or was it just plain disturbing? Anyway, she answered with a little tone of happiness, feeling all special. "Please, don't call me that." "Okay, so was there a reason you came here, Miss Victoria?" And there he did it again, and with a feeling of honesty. Victoria had to focus to speak without giggling. It sounded so ridiculous and polite to be true. "Well, anyway, do you have any plans this evening?" He thinks for a moment and answers, "No, I am completely free as a bird." "That's funny. Speaking of birds, do you know this place called the Blue Bird?" "Never heard of it. I have just recently moved here." "Well, would you want to go there?" Marcus looks a little confused at first, and then he asks, "When? And forgive me for asking, but is this what I think it is? Because if it is, then I will humbly accept your invitation." Now, it was Victoria's turn to be confused, but she soon realized after a while what was Marcus talking about. Her face got all red and she spoke in a defensive manner. "What? Oh no! This was not me asking you out for a date. I mean, not like I won't wait, no. I mean, Victoria felt slightly embarrassed over that misunderstanding and the fact that no matter how, she would not be able to undo it. Marcus seems to have taken it better than she had. He was still smiling. "Take your time. I mean, since you are new, how about that you let some of us welcome you here by going to the Bluebird? What do you think about it?" "Well, that sounds like a wonderful idea, and I feel a little touched by it, since I usually don't get much of a greeting when I move somewhere. So that would be great. Okay then, wait outside the entrance at 7 o'clock. I will tell the others that you are in on it. And one more thing." Victoria waited for him to speak. He sighed deeply and said it. "Thank you for this opportunity, to feel like I'm actually welcomed here. That means a lot to me." She started to feel really bad about herself, considering what Shelley and the others was going to do to him after the Bluebird. To explain further, they were going to make him feel happy, like winning the lottery and something, and then afterwards they will drive him up outside town and trick him into walking the side of the road while blindfolded and with handcuffs. Then they will leave him there to find a way back home on his own. Victoria's role in all this was to invite them and make sure they stayed happy during the visit at the Bluebird. Then the others would take off and leave her to go home. She never liked that ritual of theirs, and chose to not be part in it. There were days when she wondered why she even hung out with them, but it was a mystery on its own. For now, she hoped that they would not go too far. "See you later, Miss Victoria." He gives a gentle smile, and she feels how the shame of coming events are creeping in on her. She tries to ignore them, and she greets him back, and walks to tell the others.